everybody, this is Matthew Movies coming at you with my review of Interview with the Vampire, the 1994 movie that is shockingly enough about vampires that I think absolutely works. And I think this movie is just absolutely fantastic. I mean, the budget this movie must have had, or the effectiveness of the production crew, either way. I mean, I think they really drenched this movie in so much quality. I mean, the sets, the production, this is a period film. It takes place over a great deal of years, and the way in which they kind of show society growing and the modern world versus the past. It's all very, very well done. And also, I feel this movie is very much made effective by the core cast of it, that I think is definitely has some absolutely stunning performances. Fortunately, in my view, it also has a couple that are kind of unremarkable, but at the end of the day, it has some real fantastic moments. For those of you who haven't seen this movie and don't know what it's about, essentially you have a character that it's kind of like the protagonist of the film, who, you know, he's this everyday kind of dude, and he gets attacked by a vampire and gets turned into one, and you see him kind of trying to live the vampire life and embrace it and struggling with it, and then eventually kind of moving on past that, and you see basically his entire existence as a vampire from the moment he gets turned into one in a more kind of Victorian era to the modern world, and the way that all his fellow vampires kind of come and go, and his inability to really kind of love the whole lifestyle. And he's played by Brad Pitt, and I gotta tell you right off the hop that he is one of the characters who I think is kind of on to the lesser degree. I mean, you could say it's a bit of a flaw because he is the main character, and you wish it was a more remarkable performance. And don't get me wrong, by no stretch of the imagination do I think Brad Pitt sucks in this movie. I think he's effective at what he's trying to do, and this movie would not work if he was terrible in it. To me, though, I would term his performance as being serviceable, not remarkable in any way. I mean, you know, he's not given as much as many other characters are in this film. I mean, you know, like I said, he doesn't really kind of embrace the whole killing people and draining their blood thing as much as other people do, and others seem to kind of relish it. So, you know, he's not given those kind of like devious moments that others are. But at the same time, I feel like he could have been a little bit more compelling in his inability to live that kind of way, and his sensitivity. But, you know, he's not terrible by any stretch of the imagination. He's just there. You know, and maybe even a little bit better than that. He's good. He's good, but not great. As for a character that is just there, though, that really, at the end of the day, makes almost zero impact on me personally, the guy, the interviewer, that is from the title, played by Christian Slater. He is a guy in the modern world who comes across this vampire who wants to tell him his story, and it's these kind of interstitials that go on throughout the movie where he you see him have a few reactions to moments and ask more questions of him and stuff like that. The thing about it is, I mean, it's a core concept of the movie, but his character is, to me, absolutely useless. It would have been much more interesting if he was like talking to somebody who was much more compelling. I mean, he serves very little purpose in the story other than just to be the sounding board, and to a degree I was kind of surprised that they got a notable actor to play the role, because anybody really could have done it. Could have been, you know, just a everyday kind of person as a therapist or a reporter or whatever. I mean, he's just there. But at the same time, I'll say this, because he is not a pivotal part of the story, the fact that he is so unremarkable doesn't take away from the movie all that much. Now, when talking about the actors that knock it out of the park, though, you gotta talk about Tom Cruise as Lestat. I mean, the thing about Tom Cruise as an actor is, I know there are a lot of people that seem to dislike him and feel like he sucks, but I've never understood it, because I do think he's capable of giving some really, really fantastic performances, and this is one of those for sure. I mean, he is absolutely evil in this movie. He loves being evil. He loves being the guy who seduces people in and then takes them and kills them and drains their blood, and he loves the power he has over Brad Pitt's character and then another character that comes along. He likes people depending on him. He likes being able to take whatever he wants. He is just evil through and through throughout the movie, and he does a great job in that role. He can turn on the charm. You can see why people would kind of give in to his advances, and then when he turns on them, he absolutely commits to that. I mean, I think he does a great job. And another actor who absolutely kills it is Kirsten Dunst. I think she gives the performance of the movie. She was a child when this movie was filmed, and she is this kid who gets turned into a vampire, but absolutely loves it. She likes killing. She likes taking the blood. She adores this new lifestyle, and I thought her character was absolutely fascinating. I love the kind of twist that comes where she realizes that she's never going to become a woman, that she's going to be stuck as a child for the rest of her life, and her kind of dismay at that, and the fact that they bring in she basically brings in a woman in order to bring her up, and in order to kind of for her to kind of see the womanly ways as the movie progresses, and the relationship that gets built between the two of them, the older woman and her, not older woman, but the woman and her, I thought was one of the more compelling parts of the film. And you know, the actress who plays the mother figure for her is again gives an unremarkable performance. She's good. She's just not fantastic by any stretch of the imagination, but she didn't need to be. She just needed to kind of come across like she cared about Kirsten Dunst's character, and that she enjoyed their shared life, and that she was protective of her, and she absolutely does so. And there's a moment between the two of them that comes later on that is probably the most effective in the entire movie, where I'm not going to go into it because it is a major spoiler, but you absolutely feel for them, and it just absolutely works to me. And then you get introduced to another kind of coven of vampires as the movie progresses, that is led by Antonio Banderas, as this guy who absolutely adores Brad Pitt's character and sees him as kind of a way to embrace the way that society is changing, because they're a throwback to an earlier age, just like Tom Cruise's Lestat is. And he, unlike Lestat, though, he's a much more straightforward about it, and admits that yes, he needs him in order to understand the way society is moving. And he's absolutely, again, gives a very charming performance in this, and he is very charismatic. You can understand why he is a leader of people, and even though you don't necessarily root for his character as the movie progresses, I thought he was very effective in the role. And another actor who I think is, I mean, just delightful in this movie, Stephen Ray plays one of Antonio Banderas' followers, and the word that absolutely comes to mind instantly when I think of his character is mischievousness. I mean, he is just so mischievous throughout this movie. The way in which he kind of introduces himself to people with like the hat and the whole, I mean, the dance, I mean, it just absolutely works. If you've seen this movie, I don't know how his character could possibly not be one of your favorites. And just overall, I feel like this movie is absolutely great at what it does, works to perfection. It's very fascinating, and just a lot of entertainment packed into it. And I always wished that there was a sequel, and to a certain degree, I kind of am glad that there isn't, because I feel like it could have sucked. And they did do another movie with Lestat years later that did not involve Tom Cruise, that was horrendous. But that, you know, we're not talking about that here. But I thought that this movie had a lot of potential to continue going as a subsequent film, and I think it's just a great movie, and one that I've watched many times, because it just works every time I see it. So those are my thoughts on Interview with the Vampire. Let me know in the comment section below what you think, if you agree with me, if you thought Brad Pitt was better than I did, whatever. Other than that, please hit that like button, hit that share button. It makes it much more likely that other people come check out this video, which would be awesome, because I love talking movies with people. Speaking of which, if you are new here or you just haven't done it yet, please hit subscribe, hit that notification bell. That way you can find out when I put out a new video and come and give me your thoughts. Aside from all that, though, have yourself a good day.